Acceleration Partners is about 10 years old at this point, and we have 200 employees globally. We are the largest affiliate and partner marketing agency in the world. So we help top brands run strategic, fully integrated affiliate and partner marketing programs, whether it's in one country or 50. I think the main thing for us was that we had been using the entrepreneurial operating system, and we had a great experience with that and with our coach and implementer in that system. By the time we got to 100 employees, we felt like we were starting to outgrow some of EOS, and that we wanted something more intensive, and coaches that really would understand our business better and be a little bit more in the trenches with us. So that led us to Freescale. We got a lot of great references from them, and it was off to the races. The intake process was rigorous. They really wanted to understand as much as they could about the business, about the people, about the industry dynamics. It was actually in contrast to a lot of the other coaches that we've worked with in the past who felt like it was actually better if they didn't know too much about the business. They really wanted to dive in and get it. And that was great. So we spent a lot of time with them in the early days. They interviewed a lot of the senior people on the team, asked a lot of questions, and they really tried to get up to speed on us at the same time as we got up to speed on their process and how they did things. It's been great. I think they're obviously Rich and Wayne have different personalities. They have their own ways of approaching things. Similarly, our business, our leadership team is different personalities. We have some who are more entrepreneurial, some who are more operational. So working with both coaches and getting both perspectives, I think was really helpful, as it allowed us to not just pigeonhole in one direction, and it allowed different people on the team to work differently with coaches in different ways. I think that those calls were really helpful. I think splitting them up is the right way to do it. With any visionary and integrator, one of the great things about the visionary integrator relationship is that there is tension, usually kind of positive tension. But by splitting things up, I think, we're able to really get the best out of that tension, move things in the right direction, allow for different problems to be solved in ways they wouldn't otherwise be solved. So for us, I think it was really helpful. And it also, of course, allows the visionary and integrator to each, navigate the other in a way that wouldn't be possible if they were both working with the same coach, or if everybody was in the same room together. Yeah, we've grown a ton working with Freescale. We started about 3 years ago, and I want to say that we grew 50%, 50%, and then, it was 50%, 30%, and then it was 11%, but that was because of COVID. So don't really count that. We've been intending on growing 30% that year. So really great growth from that point. We wouldn't have been able to do it without the foundation that Freescale helped us lay, because it helped us scale out our teams effectively. It helped us plan effectively. And then ultimately, we ended up with a private equity investment in the fall of 2020, which has led to a whole new chapter of our journey. Number one is really thinking about strategic planning in separate tranches of time. I think one of the things about EOS when we did that was it did talk about, the 10-year plan and the 3-year plan and the 1-year plan, but it never really gave you a great way to operationalize within those. With Freescale, there's actually, real, as you might say, like as Richard Wayne would say, weaponization in each of those timescales. You're really thinking about, what I'm doing now is going to lead to what I'm doing next, which will lead to what I'm doing next, which then leads to outcomes. So I think the number one thing is thinking about things in those discrete chunks, but how they add up to a long-term plan that is exciting and achievable. I think the second takeaway would be really thinking critically about the team via tools like the People Analyzer, really being aggressive with understanding everybody's strengths and weaknesses and reviewing that on a regular basis. That allows you to make sure that your team is optimal and that you're making the right personnel decisions and things don't really sneak up on you, which used to happen a lot. And then I think the third thing is probably just really being accountable. We used to let a lot of things slide. Someone didn't do something, it was just like, okay, well, we'll get it next time. And in working with Rich and Wayne, we've really learned to hold each other accountable. Not in a mean way, but in a way of making sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing and feels like they're pulling their weight. And I think that's led to really the leadership team getting to the next level, both in terms of productivity and results, but also in terms of relationships, since we're all now just much more accountable to each other. Yeah, so I think in terms of the investment, the ROI has been quite good. I don't think we would have been able to achieve a lot of the growth that we did without making that investment. And if we were able to achieve that growth, I think it would have been at a with much more pain and suffering than it was ultimately by working with Freescale. So I think the ROI for us was great. At the end of the day, it doesn't kind of matter how expensive it is, because if it gets you to that next level, it's worth it. And that's kind of the approach that we've taken. In terms of time, yes, it can be a lot of time. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. It does get annoying sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's all necessary and it all drives to the right goal. It also forces you to build teams and build your own self in such a way that you're able to be away for a couple of days at a time. And if things don't fall apart, it forces you to delegate. It forces you to do a lot of the things that we're talking about. So in that way, it's kind of empirically, driving you in the direction they want you to go. What I would say is, number one, trust the process. There is a lot of process to it, but they really know what they're doing. And there are some things that you're going to be doing where you're going to be just really sitting there saying, why are we doing this? Or what's the point of this? But it all does come clear, and it all does work together to advance the agenda. I think the other thing I'll say is that, Rich and Wayne are both, just kind of real nice humans. And they're open to feedback. They have points of view on how things should be done and how they want to do things, but they are open to feedback and open to discussion. And so I would say, they're just a pleasure to engage with and just be around. So even above the business aspects, they're just kind of other human benefits that I would advocate for. If I could get in a time machine and go back, I probably would have wanted to work with them a year earlier. The cost was daunting when we were at that stage, and that's one of the big reasons we didn't, but I'm really glad that we did.